My name is Ratish Pandey. I'm a business coach from Ethic Advisory. Ethic Advisory, an affiliate of Action Coach of USA. And I'm sure most of you know that Action Coach USA is one of the largest business coaching organizations across the world. The focus of today's session will be on reviving growth. But before we get into reviving growth, I would love to talk about two key elements. The first one is driving sales, and the other is managing profitability, cash flow. The COVID-19 pandemic has really hit the world hard. And for India, as we stand today as a country, it continues unabated. The only positive, the glimmer of hope is the recovery rate. The governments, of course, are talking about unlock 4 right now. So obviously the economy has been, slowly opening up. My sense is that the green shoots are slowly coming up. The economy will limp back to some kind of growth levels. So let's quickly get on and see what we can do. With that, I am taking your permission to share my screen. Okay. So entrepreneurship is all about making ideas happen. And, entrepreneurs are supposed to really, it's in their very DNA that they find opportunity in adversity. That is what entrepreneurship is all about. And that's the reason I put this slide ahead, because right now, all of us need to find that opportunity in adversity. We need to find what can we do. And there's no better place than to kickstart your sales. So a quick question, and that's my first question for all of you. What do you think entrepreneurs focus on? What do you think they focus on when they're looking at their business? And at this point of time, use the chat box to probably give me some answers. Somebody says cash flow, sales, profits, solving problems. That's a good one. Continuous growth and cash flow. Cash flows. Oh my God. Cash is king. The ultimate dream. Good one. Expansion. A lot of answers. And when entrepreneurs typically look at their business, they look at a couple of things. Most businesses focus on customers. You talked about it. Sales, profitability, and cash flow. Bang on, all of you. And what we are trying to do in the next two sessions, next two modules, is about customer sales, profits, and cash flow. And then the last module, we will talk about how to revive our growth. And at this stage, I want to introduce to you a fantastic tool that we have. And the tool is called the 5 levers. And basically, the model is so simple that the idea is that if you focus on those 5 levers, your business can experience fantastic growth and profits. Now, what are these 5 levers? So typically, as all of you said, businesses focus on customers, sales, and profit. And if you really take a close look, you will realize that these 3 elements, the customers, number of customers that you have, sales, and profit, actually is a function of different things that the business does. And what Action Coach mentions very clearly, and it's a fantastic tool. And if you focus on those 5 levers, you take care of your customers, sales, and profit, and you increase and drive it significantly. So with that, let's quickly look at what are the 5 levers. So remember, you talked about customers, sales, and profits. When it comes to customers, the first lever is leads. Now, leads, I'm not talking about suspects and prospects. I'm talking about somebody who is interested and has shown interest in your products and services. That person is a lead. And that's where everything starts. When a business sees a prospect interested in his products or services, that becomes a lead. The next lever, friends, is actually conversion percentage. How many people have raised your hand to be interested in your products and services? But out of those, how many have you converted? And leads time conversion percentage will gives you the number of customers. So really, when you're looking at customers, do not look at customers. Focus on your leads, focus on your conversion. When you're talking to a sales team, your dig deep question should be, how many new leads did you get? And what is your conversion percentage? How many did you convert? Because that is what is going to drive the number of customers that you get on a day-to-day basis, month to month, year to year. Now, once you have your customers, the third lever to push is the average ticket value. Now, all of us have gone to, large departmental stores, H&M, Zara, you name it. And when you're standing at the cash till and you're sort of slowly making your way through that long line, you find that these stores have done this long S-shape, stanchions, so that you walk slowly. And while you're walking past them, they have these small little goodies, $300, $100, $125, small little things. And while you're waiting to shop, you browse and you keep adding stuff to your cart. What is the objective of these large retailers trying to do? They're trying to increase their average ticket rate. They're trying to increase the size of your cart, the value of your cart. So friends, focus on that average ticket value. The fourth lever that we talk about is number of transactions. How many times your customer has transacted with you? And that is where number of customers times the average ticket rate times the number of transactions gives you your total sales. So remember, friends, again, do not focus on sales as an end result. Focus on what is your ASP, what is your average ticket value, what are the number of transactions, how many times your customer is buying from you. So you've already seen the top four levers. The last lever is very simple. That is your margin percentage. Focus on your margin percentage. How can you drive it up? That is really important. With that, what you get, sales times margin percentage is where you make your profit. So quick one, top five levers: leads, conversion percentage, average ticket value, number of transactions, and margin percentage. Now, I need some more quick answers from you. So we look at the five levers. As an entrepreneur, what will be your sequence of priority of these levers? So if you can light up the chat box and let me know, what do you think businesses should focus on first? Or what should be the right order in your mind? 1 and 2, leads and customer delight. Okay, so before I give you the answer, and I know there are more answers coming in. Somebody says 1, 4, 5, 2, 3, which is Karthike. 4 and 5, Sunil Bajaj. Kshitij says margin. Before I give you the right answer and the right sequence, I have a small story to tell you, and this is a very interesting story. I have a pet dog, and during pandemic, what happened? All stores closed, and because stores were closed, what did I have to do? I was worried, where will I get my dog from? We used to go to a small shop close by, close by a convenience store. I tried reaching out to him, on polls shut down, everything shut down. I searched to him on Facebook. I sent him a message, no response. And then lo and behold, one day I get a call from him saying, sir, I'm calling from so-and-so pet shop, and would you be interested in dog food? I said, yes, absolutely. I need it desperately. He says, great, sir, we'll have it delivered at your house. I said, fantastic. And, because we are regular customers, when we used to go and buy from him, there was a standard agreed to discount that he used to give me. Everything happened. And then, this owner of this shop says, sir, I have just one request. I said, tell me, Tarun, what happened? He said, sir, this time, no discount. I said, what are you saying? I'm your regular customer. It's pandemic times. You're getting a sale. He said, no, sir, this time we can't afford a discount. So what did he focus on? This small shop owner focused on margin. He right away increased his margin by 15% points as he was talking to me. And what did he do next? Do you need anything else? Do you need dog biscuits, dog bones, whatever? I said, not right now. But basically, he was playing to this matrix. He was trying to see how can he increase the average ticket value. He was trying to see how many times he can supply dog food. So he called me. He immediately said, "Sir, next 10 days I'll again call you." So he was already putting things in place in my mind. So with that, let's quickly look at what's the right priority to focus on. So the priority to focus on is margins first. Improve your margins right now in this pandemic. And I can give you another great story. I went to a local electrical shop guy. I purchased tons of material. And I was looking for a small geyser, and he sold it to me at MRP without giving me a penny of a discount. He said, "Sir, not around this time." The next you have to focus on is conversion percentage. The third is average ticket rate, number of transactions, and lastly is the leads. So, and why this sequence? I believe the reason why this sequence exists is primarily because the margin percentage, the conversion, the average ticket rate is very much in your control, immediate control. For leads, you have to do far more exercise, far more greater effort to get new leads. So I'll quickly round off the sales piece, a discussion around sales. Basically focus on your key 5 levers. And if you don't have that matrix, have it ready. Get your finance team and the sales team to collaborate together and get those 5 lever matrix in place. And once you have it in place, you can really play around and see if you increase your leads by 10%, if you increase your margin by 10%, if those 5 levers, if you increase them by 10% each, which is not a significant shift, your profits actually will go up by 61%. So put that matrix for your own business. Maybe tomorrow morning when you're at work, try and put that together, and you will find the magic that small 10% growth in each of the 5 levers gives you and drives your profitability by 61% in the end. The next thing that you need to do is classify your customers. I have a very simple way of classification, and I put them as 4 classifications: A, B, C, D. A being awesome customers, B being basic customers, C are customers that you can do without, and D are dead. And remember that 80-20 rule. Typically, your A customers would be the customers that give you 80% of your business, or if not 80, 60% of your business. Follow that rule. Focus on your current top 20 customers. Drive sales through them. You will have to take care of these A customers more specifically. The B customers, yes. The C customers, your aim should be to push them up to B. So for example, C customers, if you don't want to offer them any credit, tell them that from now onwards, we are moving you to cash and carry kind of a scenario. And really look at how you can improve your customer satisfaction. Somebody talked about customer satisfaction some time back. So put yourself in customers' shoes. Look at how they're going to now buy your products and services. Look at what their purchase journey has changed during pandemic and try and meet them on their journey. That is really the key. New customers, how do you acquire them? Now, the bigger challenge has been that this 5-6 months, your customers probably have also changed. And the change may have come because customers have started looking for products and services at different places. And how do you therefore acquire them, get them back? Or new customers, how do you entice new customers back? If you're running a retail store, how do you promise a very safe, hygienically controlled retail store to them? How do you communicate that to them? all that becomes crucial. How do you offer delivery which is contactless? There's so much that is happening and so many changes that are happening because of this pandemic. Again, I was speaking to a top consultant, very senior level guy at McKinsey, and I asked him, when do you think things will be normal? And the wise man that he was, he said, Ratish, I can't give you that answer. Only the doctors in this world can give you the answer. When the vaccines are ready, when people feel safe to step out, much more safer to step out. The answer doesn't right now come from management consultants. It's actually coming, especially about the pandemic, from doctors. And there's so much research that is going on. So let's quickly change gears. Everybody talked about cash flow as something extremely big. And, even today morning's research from National Small Industries Corporation, NSIC, talked about liquidity and cash flow. So I will quickly take you through some concepts on how to manage your cash gap, cash planning, budgeting, and reporting. But remember one thing, sales is vanity, profit is sanity, but in books, cash is reality. And no better example, when I was leading up companies, and I used to sit down with my CFO and I used to tell him, we're doing well. He used to smile and say, yes, I know. I said, how do you know? And he always used to say, I manage the cash balance, so I know exactly where things are. So, really keep a hawk eye on your cash flow, hawk eye on your cash balance. If you're not, I think, especially in these times, you may be probably missing a step or two here. So let's quickly look at, and this is a great example that I have, and it'll give you a sense of how can you manage your cash gap. This is about a manufacturing concern. And so assume, I'm sure you can see at the bottom where my cursor is, there's 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, and 120. Those are the days on an x-axis, right? Now assume that a 0-day stock arrives. You hold the stock for 60 days, basically raw material or whatever, convert it into finished goods, and end of 60 days, you dispatch. Goods get dispatched. Once goods get dispatched, I'm also assuming that you take another 60 days for money to come back to you. So your real cash cycle is from 0 to 120 days, which is 4 months. Now, if you have a current arrangement with your creditors or people from whom you're buying goods is 30 days, then for the stock and raw materials that you purchased, you have to make a payout in 30 days. But you will get cash back from those goods only at the end of 120 days, which means your cash gap is 90 days. So what is it, friends, that you have to do for improving liquidity? Your basic mantra has to be to reduce this cash gap. And how can you reduce the cash gap? You can improve your productivity cycle and reduce your stock holding time. You can offer less credit to your debtors and shorten that, or you can increase your payable time, which means instead of paying your creditors in 30 days, you say, I'm going to pay you in 45 or 60 or whatever. So the play for you is really, and I'd again urge all of you to go back and do the simple thing for your business tomorrow morning when you go and see what is your cash gap and what is it that you can do to improve it. So cash flow, of course, is what money you're getting and what is you're paying out. And typically cash is generated through sale of your services, loans that you take, asset sales, your investment back into the company. Cash flows out of the business through whatever business expenses that you're doing, loan payments, asset purchases, and of course, if you're withdrawing from the business for your personal use. Remember, finance and numbers is the language of business. And that is something that you always have to remember. Your accountant, your finance advisors have to be your best friends. What you also need to do and think about is trying to put together a sample cash flow for yourself, for your business, for the next 13 weeks. If you'll do that, you will suddenly realize what you are trying to achieve and where are the gaps, which means that the cash flow will also force you to, for the next 3 months, project what sales you're going to get. So the idea being, put together a sample cash flow. And once you put together, and this is a very basic one, but basically the idea being, you put together a 13-week plan, look at what your costs are going to incur, what your gross profit is going to be, and then what your expenses day to day running the business is, what do you need at home to keep your home running, and then see what your cash position is. Basically, you have to remember that you have to review this pretty much on a week-to-week basis. If you will miss that review, you might, again, as I said, miss a step or two. So cash actually is king. Believe me, every entrepreneur knows it, even during these times. A successful manufacturer, automotive ancillary manufacturer that I know, who also exports actually significantly. So the idea is, and this guy is a very successful exporter, is cash positive, has money enough. His current runway is that he can hold it for 1 full year. But you know what he did? He still went to the banks, even these times, got a line of credit, got his line of credit extended. And this is not because he would need the money, but because as a prudent measure, he wanted the business to continue without any hiccup. So if you believe that your business has enough funds, great, but I would still say try and secure credit lines which you may need, right? So what are the key performance indicators typically that businesses look at? Sales going up and down, profits, are you making enough money, projected cash flow. I talked about a 3-month rolling plan that you should always have. Equity, which means whether your business is losing value or gaining value. And then, of course, there are these key ratios, day sales outstanding, which is your debt is outstanding, payables, your quick ratios, just to give you a quick sense. And this, friends, in my sense, you should be keeping a hawk eye on this pretty much, if not on a week-to-week basis, on a fortnight-to-fortnight basis. Keeping a track is so important. And then there are these non-financial activities. These ratios, if you're running a manufacturing company, what are your plant capacity utilizations? What's your machine downtimes and stuff like that. So really looking at all aspects, and this kind of a reporting matrix should be, as an entrepreneur, as your focus area in your coming to you on pretty much a regular basis. Remember, I know most of you are really hands-on entrepreneurs. You know your business back of your hands, but nothing better than seeing a set of numbers and then periodically seeing them and see what is happening with them. And you will be able to quickly find what you need to fix. And you will start getting actually trend results very quickly if you start plotting periodic data. And that is really the message here. Periodic data and plotting will give you enough forewarning as to what do we need to do. So basically what I'm trying to tell you is what gets measured gets managed. Otherwise, things really fall through the cracks. So how do we manage your cash flow? Of course, as I mentioned, cash gap management is the key, which means reduce your debtors, reduce inventory, find those suppliers who can deliver inventory on time, on an agreed to basis, and therefore you can reduce that inventory holding that you have. Increase your payables if you can. Again, just with a caution, the key suppliers, you have to keep them happy, because that is where your business is dependent on. So, with key suppliers, once you've agreed to, if you've agreed and increase their credit limit from say even 30 days to 45 days, then 45 days it should be, so that they are happy with when the money that they're getting on a day-to-day basis, on a periodic basis. Reduce your capex. you know, think of a standard buy or lease agreement. Do I need to buy this machinery now, or can I engage with my machinery supplier and ask him that I can buy it on a monthly lease kind of a thing to be converted later on with a buy option? Stuff like that you will need to think right now to really conserve your cash. And as I said, periodic reporting. Government programs, absolutely jump on each and every government program that you may have, including, and I think that a very recent program that has come is the bill discounting one, where the government has this large marketplace. You have your bill, you can put it on the marketplace, and the banks will bid for discounting your bill, and you can choose the bank that you want to go with, which is offering you the best best deal, if I may. So things like that you really need to think through. Jump on every program that the Sarkar is offering you. You will need it. And this is my last module that I'm talking about, and this is where we talk about what can we as businesses do to revive our growth. With that, let's go ahead and I'll introduce a concept called PESTEL. PESTEL actually is a very old concept. Early 60s, it was, Harvard Business School sort of talked about it first time. And what does it stand for, PESTEL? So basically, it's an acronym, as most of you would have gathered. But for businesses, when you think of your business, there are internal factors and there are external factors. For internal factors, they are in your control. It is the external factors that are outside your control. And PESTEL basically are the external factors that are outside your control. And as entrepreneurs, you have to put strategies to counter them. The first one, P, stands for political. And, what is the political agenda? So, for example, in the last couple of months, the Sarkar has been talking about vocal for local, Atmanirbhar Bharat. It's the political will that has come across very clearly. If you see, China suddenly is the current economic enemy, if I may. Just yesterday, 95% of the toys that are sold in India are Chinese. And yesterday, announcement came that all toys that are being imported in the country will be put to certain quality tests, stuff like that. So you can see that there is some kind of a wall being built. Now, as entrepreneurs, what is it that you need to do? Well, if you're competing with cheap Chinese imports, and you know that these Chinese imports may be challenged in the future, would you be looking at increasing your prices? Because now the cheap imports would not be available. So think about all those things and really look at what the political environment is and how can you counter it. The next is economic. And the economic factors could be, for example, the RBI is changing interest rates. Now, they are outside your control. The dollar is going up, going down. The dollar strengthened significantly. Of course, rupee has caught up some. But really, those are things that are out of your control. And how do you plan to hedge? S stands for socioeconomic. And this is all about changing demographics. Customers who were probably upcountry were always coming down to your to large cities to buy products and go back. And now probably the changing dynamics and demographics, access to internet, these customers are buying online. So how do you counter those things, right? Technology, the rate of adoption of technology, customers going online, digitization, mobile penetration, all these things you have to account for when you're looking at, and these are external factors outside your control. This is not what you're doing. This is what is happening outside your business. And as an entrepreneur, as a business person, you have to evolve strategies for those. E stands for environmental. Again, the climate change that we are talking about. And if you are in that business, change in terms of, especially in the automotive side, electric cars, bikes, green products. So much is happening with respect to environmental. And the L stands for legal. Changes in law that the Sarkar announced during the initial lockdown, and how they changed, and the kind of things that they're putting in place right now in terms of trying to make businesses, how you can do your business and conduct your business far more easier in India. So all that is happening. So you really need to look at and do this PESTEL analysis for your business, and then look at how you're going to put strategies in your play for your business to counter these. Of course, what happens? PESTEL impacts supply and demand. Uncertainties in the marketplace, natural calamities, everything results in postponement of purchase. I want to buy, but I'm prepared to wait. Think of yourself. Have you postponed any large asset buying, maybe a new car? So we are waiting. And this leads to scarcity of new customers being added to the marketplace. The next that has happened is that the demand patterns have changed. Customers are online. They're looking around and buying at their time and space. And therefore, what is also changing is the quantities that one is buying. And, simple example, today you go to a grocery store, you plan such that you're visiting the grocery store less often. What would that do? Which means that you will buy larger quantities, right? You may want to stack up for the full month or maybe month and a half, then say, okay, for the next 45 days, I'm not visiting the grocery store because I want to be safe. And those are things that you really need to watch out for. On the supply side, the bigger challenges are irregular supply of raw material, migrant labor issue that I'm sure some of you would have faced, force majeure contracts, clauses in the contracts. Are you able to get into a discussion with your landlord saying, I was not able to use my office and this and that? Is there a force majeure clause that you can invoke? And all those things that come into play. So really, these are external factors that have impacted your business. You need to have strategies in place to ensure that you are able to counter them. So let's quickly look at what are the options in front of us as entrepreneurs. Obviously, we can cry and trip. Oh my God, pandemic came. Oh my, what is this happening? And everything is gone for a toss. Or you can change your perspective, find opportunities, adapt your business, adapt to your customer, and what are you going to offer to your customer and how. So really look at how you can develop the new normal. So what can you do? From a customer's perspective, understanding your customer is the key, and understanding the change that has happened. Where is the customer journey? How is the customer thinking about your product and service? What does he expect? Where does he want to be? What is his experience? Everything you need to think through, map it out. And believe me, that mapping would help you from two perspectives. Your customer journey management has to be from a customer perspective, both as what the customer needs and also what the customer expects, and then map out where you have a gap between what the customer expects today and what are you offering. Think about that. That to me is the most crucial aspect right now for you to understand the changing customer. We have to remember that the tectonic shift that this pandemic has brought in is really a big mind shift. At malls, people used to window shop, right? People used to go to the malls to window shop. But today, they're shopping on windows. So basically, in front of the screen, they are sitting and shopping. Now, when customers are shopping on windows, how does the customer know about you and your products and services? That is the biggest thought that you need to put in place in your mind and then adapt. Develop a sales forecast. That is essential. Some broad calculations, I'm going to sell so much, and this is what I'm going to do to back up my sales. Think about that. That is important. The business model, look at the business model, how you're going to create a profitable model. The pandemic really has taught us how can we do more with less. Being right sized, managing costs effectively, availing government support schemes really are essential. And then, of course, planning your finances. Better loans. Look at, and if you've not gone back to the bank and renegotiated your interest rates, do it right now. Tomorrow morning, first thing, you have to be at your banker saying, hey, what's the best rate that you can offer me today? Plan your finances, look at bill discounting schemes, which is the latest that the Sarkar has offered. So look at all possibilities that can come very clearly helpful for your business. The next is systems and processes. Use technology today to its fullest. Look at every aspect, every process of your business and see how you can use it. Introduce digitization for reaching your customer if you have not. How you can build relationships with your customers over, using technology. Work on implementing agile systems. Look at not just customer outreach, but look at your backend. How you can improve ERPs. If you don't have an ERP, I would suggest go for it now. Think of it. What is the best ERP possible for your size of business? And that is really going to help you. Look at lean methods, look at agile systems. Really, the whole hog, think of it right now. Use technology as your best friend, not something to be fearful about. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about your team. Build a team on complementary competencies. A simple example is when you look at your sales team, there are guys who are extremely good in going out and getting business, and there are other guys who are extremely good in nurturing existing relationships. In your sales team, you should have both. So the farmer and the hunter both should be part of your sales team, and they should be given the right roles so that it really helps your business take it forward in the right fashion. Your existing customers get cared for, and your new business comes from the hunters. Build in professional business practices. Keep your employees motivated and inspired. So essential, especially in these times. There is a gig economy in place. There are so many great professional employees who have either looking for jobs right now or are happy to work as consultants. Use them effectively. Hire consultants, hire these people as outside resources for specific tasks that you may have. You will get them at a very low cost and really get superb talent. Think about that. Plan for the future. De-risk your business. Engage in management practices. Hire professional managers to lead businesses. It'll free up your time really to focus on working on your business rather than working in your business. Have a business continuity plan. Use coaches to help build your future plans and execute them. Really look at all possible options. Use your network efficiently and create small business groups where you can discuss your business problems and share. You will find that many times your peers, your entrepreneurs, and I would say the roundtabler is a great example there, where you can discuss your business problems safely in a safe environment, and probably somebody else also has faced the same problem and may have a solution for you. So use those things extremely well. With that, pretty much I'm at the end of my presentation.